How's it going, guys? Got part two, maybe, I guess, of this. Got two of these Sony receivers. You're pretty much need to watch part one if you really want to get. I guess I can recap a little bit. Got one of them running. Pretty much parted a lot of the things off of this one to get the other one going. And pretty much it's all original equipment. There's nothing really kludged on it. But this one here, if I can get it going, is going to have a lot of stuff that ain't right if I do get it going. But if it works, it works. But the whole problem with this one is, as you see, there's a crack in the circuit board. And it runs pretty much underneath this little transistor right here. And it breaks the, well, it goes around from this leg around here, and then it breaks the trace. Basically, you see a trace right here, runs along on the outside right here. Now this trace, I was kind of looking to try to find a good place to connect to it. Right here is about the best place, because it runs all the way around here, all the way down through here. Comes down, and it seems like I think because it kind of goes underneath some of this writing stuff, but it goes over to here to like a capacitor or one of these resistors over here. So what I'm kind of thinking is, where are we? I'm looking through the camera to figure out where I'm at on here. I figure it's the best policy to you guys see what I'm doing. But anyway, I gotta try to solder to this trace and solder to this leg. And then also, it's broke. Oh, I'm in the wrong spot. That leg. Solder a wire here and a wire to here. And then I need to try to blodge this resistor and this leg of this transistor together right here. And I think that's the only traces that's broke. At that point, I'll take the unit, set it down in the case, plug it all in. I got a ground right here to the case and one at the other end, and pretty much it has all its grounds. I kind of figured that out on the other machine. But you don't have any like through hole. There's no groundings here. If it works at that point, then I'll go get some super glue, and after it's all fixed and working, I'll put super glue down here, and super glue shouldn't have any trouble, getting down in here and doing its job. I don't want to put super glue in there beforehand, because then it's just like a layer of enamel, so it just makes things worse for me, I think. But if it works, then I'll super glue it. And once it dries, it shouldn't have any effect on shorting it out or anything like that. So anyway, let's see if I can do anything for this. Alright, I actually drilled a hole in the board right here. Right, just nipping the side of that trace. Actually stuck the wire through it, soldered it here and soldered it on the other side so it can't get tore loose. Right here is just tacked onto the other side of the little transistor, and I put a bridge across here. It's ready to pretty much plug it in and see if it does anything. That buzzing noise is my soldering iron. I regulate it by a dimmer switch. It's a 60-watt iron, so it's nice if you're trying to do some big stuff like, big stuff like this. But when you're trying to do small stuff, I was trying to figure out a way to regulate it. And I use a dimmer switch, and then I use the kilowatt. You see right now it's at 98 volts. But you get a nice temperature use a temperature regulated one for probably 30 or 40 bucks on eBay, but I'm cheap. Alright, so we'll put this down in the machine and see if it lights up. Alright, got this board back down in here, fastened in with a couple screws. And you see there's no output transistors on it, and there's no speaker terminal. Pretty much, it should try to fire up. It should, you know, there's no shorts, you know, so just being open circuits, but it should turn on if it's fixed. So I got it hooked to the dim bulb, and if it was working, it would have done clicked by now. And we got nothing. So something still broke somewhere, or what I did isn't connecting. So I don't know. We'll open it up some more and see what we got. Alright, so I found another trace. A leg on this side of that little transistor. It goes underneath this trace right here. It goes underneath this one, and then goes over to this resistor right here. So this is just getting fun. Alright, so I got a little thing kludged in there. I mean, this is just getting crazy, but there was nothing else better to do. But the heat may have just destroyed these pieces. I mean, they're so small. We'll put it back in the unit and see if it fires up now. Alright, got it all back down in the unit. Do the dim bulb test. Oh, I heard a click. I heard another click. Hey, look at that. It works. I've got another click. Speaker protect went out. So it just needs some transistors put in there. I don't know if I got any that's compatible, but I'll try to find something in my stash. It might work, but it's looking pretty good so far. I need to super glue that board. Alright, I got some transistors soldered down in. They're match sets to each other, but they're not match sets to the machine. So it might, if anything, it'll give me an idea if the thing's going to work, if it's going to be worth my money to go buy new ones that's exact fit to the machine. But who knows, they might just work just fine. I bet, if anything, it's going to have higher volume or quicker response, maybe on one side than the other as you're turning it up. I sealed all my repairs right here in silicone, so that way it doesn't vibrate around and come loose and quit working. So you know, nothing can move around. And here's the speaker terminals I'm going to put on. They're wired up and soldered together. Right there. Pretty much. Here's the old ones. Oh, one just fell apart. When I got it, there was no buttons in it at all. And they solder in directly in line, whereas these ones here staggered. So they don't fit the board, but this will fit in the back of the machine and bolt into the back. So from the outside, you won't be able to tell any different. I think we're ready to put this down in the box and see if it does anything. Okay, so I put everything down in here and plugged it in, and it's doing some funny things. It's not in protection mode. Like the speaker protect kicks in, it allows a connection out, but the transistors, I've put two different sets in it, so I've actually skipped you guys a couple times, and they're just not compatible enough. And I think this STK, this pre-driver, that's what this uses for a pre-driver, is a STK module, and I think it's shutting down, but it doesn't go into protection mode, if that makes any sense. And this gets warm, like the transistors are warming up, so they're not compatible. I'm not getting anything out. It says that I don't have any speakers connected when I do. and I think it's just the fact that those things ain't compatible. Delaying, I just don't want to spend any money on this thing because of the damages that it has, the kludging that it has. It's not worth anything other than just to use it or give it away to a buddy or something, you know, just to put in a garage or something. If I buy any parts for it, it's gonna be like $10. I can get new transistors, probably copycats from China. It'll take like a month or so to get here. I might do that, but I don't know. We'll see what we get. Alright guys, I got the finally got the new transistors in. Only took a couple weeks this time. I've been dying to like stick these things in there and see if this works, given that all the damage and things like that and kludging and things. It'd be kind of interesting to see if it works. Stick them in there and see if this thing works. Kind of looking at these devices, I kind of think they're used. It's supposed to be brand new, but the legs are kind of short, for one, and they're tinned. You see, they already got solder on them. It's kind of interesting. I went through with the voltmeter, and they're not shorted, and then they also have a variable resistance between two of the legs, like you're turning the thing on. So they all seem to do that. I think they should be good, but it's kind of interesting. They just seem used. The legs are all straight, but they're a little short for new. Like new usually has legs about that long. Well, they seem like the legs are going to be long enough to solder in anyways. I'd like to make a mention just because of the quality of this board is pretty good. Given the fact that I've put in and removed, you know, 3 sets of these things. Well, this will be the 4th set in it from the factory anyways. None of the pads or anything has tried to let go. It's been pretty good. Working on those realistic receivers, which anything around that era had them brown boards in it. I mean, all you had to do was just change a component once, and the pad was trying to the trace was trying to let loose of the board. Another thing too is there seems to be a coating on it. Like when you're testing cross from point to point, you kind of got to scratch in a little bit. The whole board seems to have like a clear enamel on it, so it wouldn't corrode. Put in like a garage or something, it probably wouldn't corrode. Alright, got them all soldered in. Just put the board back in and see if the thing works. Alright guys, it works. Doesn't have an antenna on it, but I screwed up 2 different ways. That first set of transistors I had in here probably was working. I had that plugged in. This receiver shuts the speakers off. Here, I'll show you. Shuts the speakers off. That thing was just laying around and rolling around on my desk. I'm like, I'll just shove it in there, you know, get it off, you know. So I might have bought these transistors for no reason, because that first set should have worked. And I screwed up another way. I wouldn't have to show you, but I'll show you guys anyways. What the heck that was? Big thump out in the living room. This is B channel, right and left. Or sorry, yeah, right and left. A channel, left and right, you know. I screwed up on the positive terminals. All the negatives, I checked them, are negatives, so they're correct. It's just they're on the wrong posts. But, you know, whatever. Most likely this thing's going to end up just being my use, or, you know, $20 to a buddy, or, you know, something like that. I'm sure I can just explain that to them and they'll figure it out. But yeah, I hooked it up and I'm like, oh, it's only working on one side. And then I noticed when I switched to B channel, or it switched, you know, the speakers switched. Yeah, one side went off and one side went on, and I'm like, wait a minute here. So I plugged it in, this one in down here, and yeah, I'm not going to tear it back apart again. I keep taking this thing back apart. I'm just going to ruin these connectors and stuff in here. So it is what it is. But I thought it turned out pretty good as far as, you know, those terminals look like they belong. You know, so. But anyway, you can see here, I mean, I probably could switch them around without taking it apart, but I don't know. I might mess with it later. Alright, so it's kind of an annoying me, kind of OCD kind of thing that this wasn't right. So I did take them off and switch them around so that they are correct now. Pretty much how that got messed up is I followed it pin to pin, wire to wire down to the board. So if, just say this thing did fit in the socket, it would have been messed up just the same as I had it. Because they actually, between this, you know, plate to the other one, these two pins on the ends was reversed. So that's how it got messed up. But anyway, turn the speakers on. There's B. Both. So it's back to the way it's supposed to be. I kind of got to thinking about it, you know, somebody down the road, say I kicked off and, you know, somebody else got a hold of this thing, they might think one side's out when, you know, it's just, you would have had that messed up configuration on it. One way it was working properly is if you have both A and B on, then it was correct. You know, then you could hook them up straight across the top on A. With A and B on, it would have worked. But either way, I don't think this is a finished project, and I'm glad it worked out because I was kind of not really wanting to spend the $750 for those things, and just to see it not work, but it worked out in the end. Alright, I'll catch you guys later.